Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is June 6th, 2024. The big focus today in the media, the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And you might notice this is getting a whole lot of attention. I mean, they bring up D-Day every year when the anniversary comes around, but today it's just really a big thing. They got Tom Hanks on CNN all day. All the world leaders in Paris, France. I wonder why they're there. Again, they give us little tidbits of things to look into in our 13 years of slave school, pledging to 13 stripes. But you do learn along the way that a lot of the founders spent a lot of time in Paris, France. When you start to look more, you realize DC was laid out by a French Freemason, L'Enfant. Before the capital was DC, it was the Jesuit stronghold when they came to America. Modern Freemasonry is mostly a Jesuit creation. The Jesuits were created in Paris, France. Start to realize why people are gathering in certain places, or why even those places become, what they're remembered for. D-Day, this decisive day in the war in France, in Normandy. We're going to talk more about why the 80th anniversary matters so much in terms of numbers in light of the other name for D-Day, Operation Neptune, which the U.S. was reportedly planning from sometime in 1943. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. I got something that's just going to blow your mind with the NBA Finals and the rigged election. We've already been talking a lot about this, and it's already pretty mind-blowing. But I was just doing more research on the angle with the Adelson family being big backers of Trump. And then I realized that Donald Trump's son is 18 right now, like the Celtics are trying to win their 18th championship. And what stood out about Donald Trump's son is he has dual citizenship in the U.S. and Slovenia, where his mother's from. And that's also where Luka Doncic is from, Slovenia, right? And remember, Luka Doncic wears 77. Donald Trump's 77 years old right now. It's a special number. The NBA Finals were set in the 77th game of this year's playoffs, meaning tonight's game, game one of the 78th championship, is the 78th game of the playoffs. And if you look, you'll see that the West played 37 games so far in the playoffs, and the East played 40. The reason that's funny is because the West has won 37 championships, and the East has won 40. Again, it's all number ritual, but gonna blow your mind with. Well, there's a lot to it, but for example, it's Today is the 78th birthday of the Celtics. It's the 78th NBA championship series. Today is 78 days after Barron Trump's birthday, who has the same citizenship as Luka Doncic. And again, for years, we've been showing how sports are connected to the rigged elections. We've been showing this for a long time now. I mean, this is the third election cycle through that we've been here doing this, and calling stuff out before it happens. And again, we did it again this year because we thought the Celtics were the most likely team to be in the finals before the season began, because Boston Celtics is the only team whose full name equals 78. So again, if you took my advice at the beginning of the year, you're in the driver's seat to win now. You just got to hedge your position with Dallas. Again, Joe Biden's Secret Service name is Celtic. Number 46, the Celtics on 46 wins versus the Mavs. They're 46-40 all time. Funny enough, today's 41 days after Melania Trump's birthday, the wife and the mother of Barron Trump. It's 41 days after her birthday. We'll see if Dallas could sneak one out in game one. But if they did, I know who to follow in the series. Again, this is why it's important to watch these things, because you can see it's like, God, are they going to sync this up literally with Barron, Melania, and Donald the whole way? But look at that. 41 days after Melania's birthday, the mother, again, Dallas established in 1841. Dallas just won their series 4-1 over Minnesota. A lot of 41 rituals in Dallas history. But yeah, we're gonna go over all this, and of course, Biden has the parallels to JFK. By the way, if anybody can help me out, I used to have it in a video years ago, probably like 2016-ish. Channels that were deleted in the past. I didn't back up every last video I ever made. It used to be relatively easy to find something online, and I bet somebody out there can still find it, but I am struggling so bad to find it. Melania Trump, the wife of Donald, is in a old, before she was with Donald, from it's like around the mid-90s. I want to say, it might have been 95 or 96, but she did this reenactment. She's part of the acting scene, reenacting the assassination of JFK. Gotta find that. It seems like the web's largely been scrubbed of it because it's hard to find now, but I know that exists. I've shown that in the past. But of course, JFK from Massachusetts, Dead in Dallas. We got Boston, Dallas here, synced up with Biden, who's number 46, like JFK was killed at 46, with Boston coming in with 46 wins. RFK equals 46, who died on this day in history on the 22nd birthday of the Celtics, when again, Boston and basketball equal 22. Remember, they were in their 22nd finals in 2022. But we've been pointing this out the whole time, how Joe Biden's Secret Service name is Celtic. The day he announced he was running for president, John Havlicek died, the famous Celtic. How they synced up the 17-point comeback of game one of the finals with the Celtics over the Warriors 2 years ago with Joe Biden's 17-minute speech about Uvalde, where he mentioned 17 a bunch of times and said Uvalde will mourn for 17 more days for who knows what reason. But that's how he closed out his 17-minute speech, as the Celtics came back on a 17-0 run at the same time in NBA 17, why they stayed on 17 championships. Anyhow, the point is, we've been pointing all this stuff out for years. For all of this stuff to keep lining up this way, I mean, how many more things do we need to call off it? Donald Trump gave us the whole Super Bowl September 23rd, 2017, the year of Super Bowl 52. Again, taking on the flag protesters when the flag's from Philly and the flag's on the Patriots helmet, and the flag was sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philadelphia, and he took on the protesters on 23/9, and he took office while the flag was 239 years old, and his birthday is the flag. And Kaepernick started the protests on the 239th day of the year, and the Bay Area and Philly have those deep connections. Sports teams gone from Philly to the Bay Area, including Oakland Athletics and the Warriors. A lot of coaches. The Liberty Bell from Philly spent time in San Francisco. But yeah, so we'll talk more about this. I just wanted people to, watch the storylines and the number rituals tonight. And if you want to know more about this stuff, join us on Patreon, because we get a lot more deeper into it. But I did this post game one research, and I just wanted to share it with everybody. Because, again, it cements the point I've been making for a long time. How rigged the whole game is, how these people are born to be. And again, we're watching the scripts unfold. And people should see that, because Luka Doncic, who's being celebrated as this megastar in the NBA, he literally cannot even dribble a basketball in terms of what is legal in the game of basketball. The NBA doesn't count. The NBA doesn't follow the rules of basketball. You're not allowed to travel in that league. You can take like 5 steps. I've seen it 1,000 times in the last 20 years. You can put your hand all the way under the ball so you can carry big time and get a huge advantage in terms of juking somebody moving, which is what Doncic's whole game is, carrying the ball all over the court. They might as well just eliminate the dribble. Sure, he can shoot, but they're using technology too, so who even knows? But he cannot dribble. Every time he handles the ball, it should be a turnover. It should be the ref should blow the whistle. They got. I love how they have Bill Kennedy out there working the game. Isn't that nice too? They got a ref Kennedy in here. Oh my God, you guys, they're slapping people in the face. Bill Kennedy equals 113 like Dallas. We thought Dallas would make it to the Western Conference Finals this year before the playoffs began, because we saw they'd get that 113th win. It's a big number in the NBA. The National Basketball Association 113. But yeah, just think about it. 77-year-old Trump, number 77, Luka Doncic, and Gematria Boston equals 77, like Walton. R.I.P. to Bill Walton, who died the day that the Celtics advanced to the finals. And notice the way they scheduled the finals, too, just so you can see it's scripted in accordance. Last year, the 41st pick of the draft, Jokic, he had the ritual going on with the other Serbian, the other Joker in tennis, winning the French Open at the same time. But the 41st pick of the draft, Jokic won the finals 4-1 last year on number 41's birthday anniversary. And I think it's the National Basketball Association equals, what is it, the Russell Trust at Skull and Bones? I got to look it up. There's some connection with Skull and Bones and the Russell Trust and the Bushes being a member of it. But anyway, look at the scheduling, you guys. You have the first game on June 6th, again, on the anniversary of RFK's death. And Biden was born on the same day as RFK. Go figure. Biden was born on RFK's 17th birthday. John Havlicek, number 17, died the day that Biden announced he was running for president, and he died 17 days after his own birthday, did John Havlicek. And that was 156 days after Joe Biden's birthday. And Boston Celtics equals 156, like Barron Trump, who synced up with the Mavericks, but also their opponent in this year's finals while he's age 18, while the Celtics try to win their 18th championship. But notice the scheduling, you guys. June 6th, today, game 1. June 9th, that's 3 days later, right? June 9th. June 12th, so they're going to have it on number 41's birthday anniversary, game 3. This year it can't be a closeout game, though. Last year we saw that coming a million miles away. But notice game 4. It's the only game that comes 2 days after another game, because then the next game's 3 days later on June 17th. Then game 6 is 3 days later on June 20th. Then game 7 is 3 days later on June 23rd. Only one game that they fudged the 3-day thing so they could put it on Trump's birthday. And we every year we point out the funny thing they do with the scheduling where it's like, see, that game doesn't make sense, but you see why they moved it to that date. We're showing this stuff year after year. If you pay attention every year, there's like one game where like, well, why did they change it for that game? Because when you realize it's all rigged and scripted and the dates and the numbers matter, and they had to have it on Trump's 78th birthday. Remember, Joe Biden, whose Secret Service name is Celtic, he took office when he was 78 years old. Born November 20th, 1942 is Joe Biden. Turned 78 right after the election, November 20th, 2020. Takes office at age 78. But yeah, okay. I know people love the sports more than anything, so get a lot out about that there first before we cover more on it. Boeing today talking with the International Space Station, the ISS, the floating 47. Boeing from Seattle on the 47th parallel. We'll look more at why that is in the news today. Today connected to a Kennedy, and of course the Kennedys have a lot to do with the space program, one of the big space stations named after JFK, who had the whole vision, only to be assassinated 6 years before he could see it realized. Okay. I got a text message about somebody spamming the chat. Here, Charmed One, you are allowed to get rid of spam bots. I asked Charmed One not to censor people, but if they're just spam bots, you are welcome to ban them. If they're just spamming nonsense, okay. I want to get back to it, but yeah, you can ban the trolls. Day 4 of the Hunter Biden trial falls on June 6th. Okay. And I noticed something Netflix just did. It seems like Netflix just added a new show to their catalog, and I'm going to find out what day they added it. I just caught wind of this yesterday, but Sweet Lady got really into it last night, and I noticed episode 4 that there's a new show they added called Your Honor, and it's who's the actor who plays the meth maker? He's the meth genius in Breaking Bad. I can't think of that actor's name right now. Is it Bryan Cranston? I think maybe that's it. But he plays a judge in this Showtime show that they just added to Netflix called Your Honor. And not to ruin the show, but the 4th episode begins with the murder of a young man who did nothing wrong. He was just kind of following orders in his gang, but it wasn't like he did anything violent. He was just following some really simple instructions, and things got funny, and he ended up getting murdered in this ritual. And then that same episode, it ends with his entire family getting murdered. And these things are being carried out by authorities and people who are in government in the state, and also a mobster who controls state officials. But this is episode 4, right? Episode 4 is the one where it gets like really violent and ugly, and begins with death. And literally it begins with death in the opening sentence or opening seconds of the episode. And then it ends with a more violent death of his entire family being murdered. But just 4. 4 is the number of death. Again, if you look this up, this is something associated with the Far East and very old. And remember, the Jesuits who are running this show, they've been all over the world, and they did take a lot of the things they learned from the Far East, you know. So, yeah, just all the Biden parallels to the Kennedys. RFK equals 46. JFK was killed at age 46. Joe Biden elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. By the way, Hunter Biden's birthday is the 35th day of the year. Like JFK was number 35, killed at age 46 on Interstate 35, where JFK was killed in Dallas. I-35 is the death of the 35th president. Catholic equals 35 forwards, 46 in reverse. Again, Joe Biden elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. His son, Beau Biden, died at age 46. And remember, today is 199 days after Joe Biden's birthday, the 46th prime. That's the one other thing to think about in that Celtics-Mavericks game. Could the Celtics stay on 46 wins versus the Mavericks when Joe Biden's Celtic and it's 199 days after his birthday? And again, that's the 46th prime. And I know people in Massachusetts know 199 in sports. If I say Massachusetts sports star 199, almost everybody there was like, oh, that's Tom Brady, the 199th pick. Yeah, and Tom Brady equals 46 like Michigan and his perfectly scripted career, and he kissed the Pope's hand. And anyway, it's amazing that people couldn't see how scripted the Patriots were. I mean, they were always a bottom dweller franchise. The only time they were in a Super Bowl, they were whooped 46-10 with the revolutionary 4-6 defense when Chicago equals 46. Bears beat them. Cubbies and White Sox just began their series against each other, and it starts with the Cubs. Did they give the White Sox their 46th loss of the year? I think that's what they did. I think the White Sox picked up their 46th loss of the year in game one of the Battle of Chicago. But, yeah, it's just day 4 of the gun trial. Robert Kennedy had a speech 10 days before his assassination in Oregon about gun control. God, I got to go back. It was probably like 2015. There was a big mass shooting that was the focus of the news for a while in Oregon. And it was like on the anniversary of RFK's gun control speech, I think. Go back and look at all this stuff now. You can put it more together with all these years of extra experience and just seeing what they've been doing. But we've been talking about the ongoing rituals and paying tribute to the Kennedys for so long, and it's just never been more obvious. But here's the other piece of this. In today's day 4 trial, Beau Biden, who died at 46, again, today is 199 days after their dad's birthday, the 46th prime. Today's testimony comes from the widow of Beau Biden. And part of the story was how she got in a romantic relationship with Hunter. So it sounds like Hunter started having sex with his dead brother's wife. I mean, it sounds pretty messed up. Well, okay, I don't want to judge things. There's probably a bunch of people there and that. I don't even know, man. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right to me. Sleeping with your brother's wife. However, maybe like back in the old, back in the old days, maybe you got a single brother who, and just to take care of the woman after I don't know. But anyway, this just sounds wrong. So this is the testimony today, though, that they're in this romantic relationship and Hunter has a crack habit. And then Hunter's got her smoking crack after the death of Beau Biden. And again, Biden was a senator when Congress and the Senate were passing all these laws sentencing essentially black people to really long prison sentences for crack cocaine when it was a new thing on the scene, no doubt funneled into the country and targeting certain communities as they always have. But then he's also the guy that goes to the White House with the first black president, the first female black woman in the White House, also connected to Biden. He puts in the first black female Supreme Court justice. But something tells me that in a way, this is all like part of the sick thing that they do. Probably one of the instrumental people in the incarcerating of a lot of black people over drug laws. And now you get to see how his son, he might be able to get book deals out of crack and stay out of prison. And well, it doesn't matter where this ends up going. You just see how the whole thing is being contrived, how all of these narratives work together, how they're divisive, how it goes from the Trump trial to the Hunter Biden trial. And don't forget, it was years ago when I was showing you how CNN for the first time, because remember, CNN was late to even cover anything about Hunter Biden. Like Fox News was on it every day for like a year and a half before CNN said one peep about it. But when CNN finally covered it, it was the 201st day of the year. We're like, look at that. CNN finally covers Hunter Biden, makes it the big front page story on the 201st day, reminding us of all the 201s with the Jesuits and how Beau Biden's wife and daughter died in a 201 ritual back in 72. And then when he was 72 again, Beau Biden died 201 days before the Pope's birthday. Anyway, this stuff it's just gross, you guys. It's gross. It's gross, and it's such obvious political theater, the theater of war. With D-Day, if you're watching CNN today, who do they have on all day? They have Tom Hanks on all day, who dies on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year and saving Private Ryan. What's his name? Oh my God, I must be getting Alzheimer. What's the director who does Saving Private Ryan, does Jurassic Park? I can't believe I can't think of this guy's name. Steven Spielberg. The guy likes to stick 201 in a lot of his movies. He's got the 201s all over the place. In War of the Worlds, right when Tom Cruise is like running out of New York with his kids, there's a big 201 on the building right behind if you're paying attention. That one had to do with aliens, just like God, what's his other older alien movie with all the shaking mailboxes where the camera's focused right on mailbox 201? So the alien ship is shaking the Mother Earth below. Um, but yeah, the Hunter Biden day 4 thing. There's more that can be said about this, but yeah, that's really one of the more important things. And CNN has a story up about, so this caught my eye, right? Because for years I've been teaching you guys about 147 and all the things that are special about that number. But with regards to baseball, this is about a man whistling the national anthem at the Orioles baseball game, right? And remember, the Orioles owner died this year on the anniversary of the Key Bridge opening. And then 3 days later, the Key Bridge collapsed on Nancy Pelosi's birthday. And if you missed that work, you got to go back and look. It's so important. But anyway, very interesting rituals they've been doing with the Baltimore Orioles and the bridge collapse. So I saw CNN had up this story today, and I said, oh, look at that. They had to make it a minute 47 about a guy whistling the national anthem. Well, in baseball, World Series equals 147. And many times this number's shown up in the World Series ritual. We've been talking about all the stuff going on with Tim Wakefield and his death and how he played for the Boston Red Sox. He also played for the Pirates, but he won that World Series with the Red Sox. And then his teammate died shortly after him, and then his wife. Anyway, they've been doing all this stuff with Boston and Atlanta this year because the Braves used to be in Boston. And like yesterday, the Atlanta Braves fell to 14-7 versus the AL in a very symbolic game with a very interesting score and box score. But now I see this. So I'm just trying to fill in all the clues. Okay, the first thing I see is the 147. I say, okay, that connects with World Series and National Anthem. We know they've synced up sports championships, paying tribute to the National Anthem before. Francis Scott Key wrote the National Anthem in Baltimore, right? So then I look up the story and I look into what day he did it. He whistled the National Anthem on Wednesday, May 29th at the Baltimore Orioles Stadium, right? And then the World Series is 147 days later. So again, does that mean for sure the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series? It does not. But you know what we've done year after year? We've looked for the clues and we put down an affordable chip that we can afford to lose on the spaces where they're giving us the riddles. Like last year, we had the Rangers at 50-1. And by the end of the year, we'd put in a chip on about 5 different teams. So imagine you'd put $10 on 5 different teams. You'd put $50 out there. You ended up hitting on 50-1 with the Rangers. So you made $500. Sure, you lost your other 40, but that's called, you now have 510 before you put 50 out there. So you made $460. And we've done this year after year at the World Series. I've been doing this consistently since the 111th World Series, the first time I even started at it. And again, I mean, you guys, how can I teach about the same things every year? How can they continue to put the same numbers in your face? And again, I didn't know that I didn't know when I first clicked on this what day he did it, but I was like, this is my initial thought. I'm like, what if it's 147 days from the World Series? Let's see. Oh, what do you know? May 29th was the day he did it from watching and listening to the story. And I just go, you got to be kidding me, man. They just keep doing it. They just keep doing it. And then the dummies keep sitting on the sidelines. They're like, well, yeah, you got that right and that, but you got that wrong. So doesn't that mean that it doesn't all mean anything? It's like, no, because like I just said, yeah, we ended up putting 5 chips down to cover our spots. And had we hit on any of them, we would have come out ahead. And we hit on the one that was 50-1. That was the one we wanted most. I mean, so like you should be able to answer the question. You don't have to hit every single thing that you see to come out ahead when you're doing futures and exponential multiplying. You just can't bet more than you can afford to lose. That's what a lot of people do in this. They think they've got the $1 million riddle and it's a surefire winner, and then they're down a whole lot of money. And I'm like, well, I never taught you to do that. It's not what I ever taught anybody to do. I taught you how to make some extra grocery money, not gamble away your whole life. And again, if you've taken my baseball futures, you are way up from the time of the 111th World Series, because it all started with a big bang with the Mets with 60-1 odds just to be in the World Series, being in there. New York 111. So we were talking about in spring training, 111th World Series, New York 111. We knew it wasn't going to be the Yankees that year. I thought there was a small chance it could be Yankees versus Mets, but we knew the Mets were the team that was destined to be there. It was all through Matt Harvey. And just like I said all year with Harvey, I said, just watch. It's all about him. Everything is synced with him. And sure enough, he was the starting pitcher for the last game on November 1st. The last game of the 111th World Series won 11-1. And go back and look at the box score. Matt Harvey got pulled on his 111th pitch after giving up the first run of the game to Hosmer, who came up to the plate with a 111 batting average for the World Series and knocked in the first run of the game for the Royals, who won that World Series in the time of the Queen, born on the 111th day of the year. Again, and that's the thing. If you put in a future for a team and then they make it to the World Series, you can instantly hedge on the other side in case you're wrong. Here, to make a point, like last year with the Rangers, you bet $10 at the beginning of the year that the Rangers would be in the World Series, and you got them at 50-1 odds. They're there now. If they win the World Series, you're going to be making $500. Now you can afford to bet more than $10 on the other team to make sure you make a decent bet. Let's say you just want to bet $100 on the other side in case you're wrong about the Rangers and they win, you win $100. Okay, you doubled your money. You made $100 off that. You lost your $10 from the initial year that could have, or the beginning of the year that could have potentially paid $500. Again, knowing how to do math, simple mathematics, calculate. You can hedge your bets in a smart way. You can put yourself in a driver's seat and make sure you always make a profit. Now, some people say gambling is evil and bad. If you feel that way, then just don't gamble. The real reason I put out this knowledge is to show people how rigged the game is, and I have proven that in spades over more than a decade, and I've talked about the same damn numbers all the way. When I was rock solid that the Cubs were going to win that World Series and break the 108-year drought, we talked about all the 147 stuff the Cubs were doing all throughout the year in different ways over and over and over. And again, we talked about a million more times since. But yeah, again, they're baiting you. CNN's putting it in your face. They got to give you a minute 47 story about the national anthem, and then they end up telling you the date. They don't tell you it's 147 days from the World Series or what it means. But remember, this number is bigger than the World Series. The word Freemason is 147. D.C. is known as the Masonic City. All of the American sports are credited to Freemasons. The White House, in Masonic D.C. has 147 windows on it. U.S. president equals 147. The small way, president of the United States equals 147. Huge number with NASA in the space program, too. And again, almost every NASA astronaut has been a Freemason. Okay. Okay, I see we still got the same trolls in the chat. Hold on. Okay, somebody's texting again about trolls in the chat. I guess maybe they keep making new accounts. Oh, they're on the sports channel. I see. Okay. I'll just manage it then. Yeah, can you imagine like trolling my chat and saying I'm a fraud right now? Hey, moron, why don't you look into what I'm saying and see if there's a million documentations talking about World Series and 147 over the years, because you're going to find them. Okay? No, anyone calling me a fraud is just instantly the fraud. There's nothing I'm doing that's fraudulent. I'm laying down the facts and proving my case in spades. You just like bullshit comments and just calling the opposite of the truth. That's not anything. Okay, here's number 46. What's CNN emphasized today? Dark forces, right? Haven't I been teaching this for like a decade straight? When they put emphasis on the words, it's because there's numbers there. Dark forces 46. This is the headline from Joe Biden 199 days after his birthday, the 46th prime number. Hey, Tard in the chat, who's a troll from San Francisco, why don't you go back and watch my Super Bowl 50 prediction land in a super hard way, and then watch my coverage of Super Bowl 50, which was the 46th Super Bowl of the modern era, Levi's Stadium 46. That's where the game was. and go see how important 199 was in the rituals in that game, the 46 prime. We've always been talking about the same thing since forever. I mean, Super Bowl 50, that was like the first time I saw a mega 199 46 rituals that I was aware of. And we've been talking about it ever since. Learn more as you go. But they've been doing the same things the whole time. Rigged politics, rigged sports. Okay, so this thing about the 80th anniversary today. Oh yeah. Hold on. This is not the right post. Where did I put it at? It might be hold on. It might be in another post. Might have done 2 posts on this today. Okay, I do want to point this out though. Netflix also released a movie yesterday. It was a brand new release on June 5th. Date that can be written 5/6, like Paris, France is 56. I have not seen this, but a killer shark in Paris, France. I mean, it sounds really dumb, but obviously it's symbolic, you guys. Again, the Jesuits are from France. The Scottish Rite came to power in France. Paris, France equals 56. Society of Jesus, 56. Freemasons, 56. A lot of the founders who are Masons and in these orders studied in France. Washington, D.C., of course, is 56. Again, the Jesuits served the church. The other year on Church Street, after the George Floyd riots, they painted Black Lives Matter on this day, June 5th. Black Lives Matter equals 56 as parallels to the Black Panthers, and all the original Panther meetings were in Catholic churches in the Bay Area. And they synced up Super Bowl 50 in tribute to the Black Panthers and Huey P. Newton with Cam Newton. But anyway, I'm sure there's something symbolic about this movie. They released it on the day that all the world leaders started to gather in Paris, France. A killer shark, right? I'm sure there's a joke here that's going over my head right now, but somebody's going to put it together. So I see the number piece. I see it while the world leaders are there, and in a shark horror movie, people usually get eaten. So Joe Biden, man, he's been looking like bait all week. What was it? 45 politicians came out the other day against him after he fell down at the military base. Oh boy. I must have another post up here. I want to talk about why the 80 matters. I wrote it down in another post. We'll get to it. Today, for the Boeing ritual, today is 153 days after their mega downfall point for the year. Remember, January 5th is the day I'm talking about. January 5th, the door ripped off the flight in midair, supposedly, and it was the focus of the week, and Boeing stock came crashing down. And now this news is here. Let's see if it's up again today. Yesterday's news about the successful launch, the third one's the charm on the 5/6 days we talked about yesterday. Had the stock up. And okay, did I not say this yesterday? Did I not say don't? Okay, yesterday the stock was at $189, and yesterday, I know I said it out loud. I said I won't be surprised if the stock is $191 tomorrow, and here it is, $191. And see, these things can be very lucrative to know if you're into options trading. That could be a very helpful piece of information if you're in options. But here, I'm going to show you exactly why I said that yesterday, because we covered the 191 ritual earlier this year with Boeing. When the Boeing CEO, Dave Calhoun, announced he was going to step down, the stock price shot up to $191. And Dave Calhoun equals 191. And 191 is not an arbitrary number. Society of Jesus equals 191. There's a lot more to it. It's just, again, we just saw a recent ritual with this number. So it just felt like, okay, it could go back up again since Boeing's riding on a higher news wave right now than their defective planes and, whistleblowers being found dead. Remember that story from March 8th? It's just, yeah. Again, the value of this knowledge, you guys. You see through the rituals. You see how rigged the market is. We were just talking about what they just did the other day with the glitch with Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, another Jesuit town, Omaha, where they got one of their 27 universities. But okay, Normandy. All right, here's the 80th anniversary piece I wanted to get into. Normandy is on the 48th parallel, and I might have forgotten to take some screenshots here. All right, Normandy is on the 48th parallel, okay? That's where D-Day happened. The 48th parallel, this big episode in World War that was made into this huge Hollywood film, Saving Private Ryan, which is, when I was growing up, it was easily one of the more, in terms of just like society, a movie that they made seem really important. Like you needed to go out and watch it. You needed to go out and watch Saving Private Ryan. But notice, World War's got the 48, and you guys might have saw. We're going to get to the 102-year-old who died en route to D-Day today. That's an international story. The veteran who died at 102. It's just, it couldn't be a bigger tribute to the Jesuit text Art of Wars. We're going to get to with undeniable proof. But first, World War 48. And keep in mind, Biden born in 42. That was the year we first deployed troops. But notice Hollywood is also 48. And again, just that term, the theater of war. And I think a lot of people's memory of World War II that's been put in their mind is from the film Saving Private Ryan or some other Hollywood film or a collection of them, or HBO's Band of Brothers, which is also done by Spielberg and similar to Saving Private Ryan. But Hollywood, 48. And think about this nation's capital, you know, with the big 5-sided Pentagon. 5 acres above court, or five floors above ground, 5-acre court in the middle. All these fives with the Pentagon, the 555-foot tall Washington Monument, this very numerological building in the Masonic city, where it's etched on the Masonic temple, all his number. Again, Freemason has that 48 value as well. And of course, Illuminati is 48. And again, people can look it up because it's a fact. George Washington penned a letter. George Washington was a Freemason. He penned a letter about his concerns about Adam Weishaupt's Illuminati infiltrating Freemasonry. It's in the National Archive. But isn't it interesting how Illuminati's 48 and Freemason and Hollywood and even World War and all these wars have followed a very specific number code? And you got Masonry studying Kabbalah, which is based in the Torah, where the 4th book is titled Numbers. Again, part of Kabbalah is this whole Gematria thing, words and numbers in the Bible. So anyway, and again, at the same moment in history, you're getting numbered English Bibles, you're getting the English alphabet standardized with 26 letters, you're getting the calendar, all of these things, a world plan going into motion, world war shaping the world. With regards to the 48 piece and where Normandy is, and today's the 80th anniversary, notice Bavarian Illuminati. The official title of the Illuminati initially has that 80. And look at the other numbers up there. The 188 matters because the U.S. dollar, all world currencies were pegged against the U.S. dollar after World War II. It's what's made the U.S. Essentially the most powerful nation there is in the post-World War II era, because all money's systems are connected through ours. And you know, at some point that's going to change. And then our place in the world will change. And we see that decline right now. You got I don't even need to explain it. We got an election between two grumpy old men. We got old Baltimore Bridge coming down on old Nancy Pelosi's 84th birthday, when her father died at 84. And then next thing you know, on her husband's 84th birthday, the Golden Gate Bridge is shut down because of the pro-Palestinian march, when just the other year, Israel shut down the Golden Gate entrance to Palestinians at Temple Mount. And Temple Mount equals 154. And that ritual on the Golden Gate Bridge was the 154th day of the year. Anyway, Bavarian Illuminati, $188 bills. What are the U.S. dollar bill denominations? The 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100. And if you add them all together, they all equal 188. And then look at the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. Bavarian Illuminati, 127. Does it remind you of December 7th, Pearl Harbor? Talk more about Pearl Harbor in a minute, what got the U.S. in World War II. The 298, I don't have anything for. There probably is something to it, but right now, off the top, I don't have anything for that. The other numbers come up a lot in rituals. And remember, 9/11, which got us into a mega war that lasted 20-some years. Buildings 1, 2, and 7 came down in New York. And then they called the site Ground Zero, and Ground Zero equals 127. And Ground Zero's terminology from the Manhattan Project, which was related to World War II. The Manhattan Project got underway. Pearl Harbor happened. Next thing you know, we're in the war. Next thing you know, we're closing out the war with a big bomb. Didn't they just give us a new Godzilla movie too? It's all connected to that history. Saw Netflix has a new Godzilla movie on there as well. I used to love Godzilla when I was a child. I, I, man, weird tangent, you guys. Like, my parents used to show me everything, and when I was about 3 or 4, I saw Gremlins, and then I was horrified to sleep with the lights off around that age because I thought a gremlin would eat me. But then I saw a Godzilla movie, and somehow in my little kid mind, I always thought like if a gremlin showed up, Godzilla would show up too and save me. I don't know why I thought that, but it helped me get through the whole Gremlin episode. Okay. Anyway, sorry, that was a blast from the past. Kids' minds can be funny, and yeah, there's like as again, pretty soon we'll have a little one here, and again, it's like part of me was I'm like, how much should they be exposed to? How much should they? It's funny how your mind starts to change. You got a little one coming. My parents, though, man, I mean, they didn't really hide anything from us. We just saw it all. I'm not sure that was all good, but that's the way it worked out. Um, yeah, just all this stuff up here, man. Mm. And look at what's in the corner too on this. I mean, isn't it sick? Dozens killed in Israeli airstrike, Gaza authorities say. I have something that is really starting to make a lot more sense. Do you remember October 4th when we had the emergency alert test on the same day Russia did? And then that was a Wednesday. We did TFR that day, and we talked about how they were coding this number that corresponded with October 7th, and that number was 207. And we saw it connected to all these things that made so much sense. And we're like, God, it looks like there could be some kind of active terrorism war. We're waiting for the thing to start with Israel all year. And sure enough, October 7th ended up being the day, the anniversary of us invading the Middle East after 9/11. But 207 was the number. Let me see. Did I close the wrong post? This is what I got to show you. So this really, now I really get what the 207 is all about. Because I was saying then, I was like, okay, we're seeing how it connects to this day, but there's got to be something greater to this. So here, now it's all going to make sense now. Today in the news, Robert Persishity? It makes me wonder if that's even a real name, but it sounds very Italian. It sounds very Illuminati. It sounds very Catholic. Robert Persishity, a 102-year-old World War II U.S. Navy veteran, died last week while on his way to France to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day. According to Honor Flight Rochester, a veterans organization. So I'm guessing he's from the Rochester area. But the 102, we talked about this so many times. This is a big number with Art of War and World War. Again, the text by Sun Tzu is titled Art of War. But if you look into that text, there's no proof that a Sun Tzu ever existed. The reason people know about that text is because of a Jesuit priest, Father Amiet of France. Okay? France, right? France. Where are all the world leaders today for the D-Day anniversary? Of course, D-Day was in France, Normandy for the most part. I mean, there are probably D-Days going on all over the place in the World War, but it's Normandy that gets the focus with this day. It's where the Saving Private Ryan movie begins. 102 is huge. It was huge in the Pearl Harbor attack. It was huge in 9/11. Again, the federal government simulated that Al-Qaeda would attack America on June 1st, 2001, which was 102 days before 9/11. But look at this. This is the clincher. The leader of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa, from his birthday to today is 207 days. And who translated Jesuit text Art of War? John Joseph Marie Amiot, 207. Isn't that crazy? If you go back to what we were showing on October 4th about all this encoding of 207 in the headlines, were like, this is pointing to October 7th. And then sure enough, and with regards to 10-4, Roman Catholic Church has that 104. But it's obvious that that's what the meaning of that was that day. They were putting down the Art of War code. And if you've never read Art of War, most translations are 68 pages. The longest chapter in Art of War is chapter 11, which is 68 paragraphs. And chapter 11 is called The 9 Situations. Are these numbers sounding familiar? 11 and 9, 68, 1968. World Trade Center construction begins in New York. 911's made the national emergency dialing code. George W. Bush gets out of Yale and Skull and Bones, modeled after the Templars, who were the military order of the church. The Templar cross now in the Jesuit logo. All the things that went down in 1968. Boeing debuts their jumbo jetliners. Boeing from the 68 city, Seattle, Washington. But yeah, we've been talking about Art of War and the 68 pages and 68 paragraphs in chapter 11 for a long time. Just seeing this all these years later, it's just, this is it, you guys. It's just undeniable. Here, this is from Harvard. This is from Harvard's website. Here, let's just go there so no one can doubt it. All right, this is okay. This is from Harvard's library. Jean-Joseph Marie Amiot introduces the Art of War to the West. Okay. Sun Tzu's Art of War has become an iconic work, a commonly cited treatise with crossover interest and application in academia, military, business management, and even popular culture. Sun Tzu, they say here he lived from 544 to 496 BC, but if you look into it, there's no historical record that this person ever existed. He would have lived 48 years. That's hilarious. Like World War's 48. And if you guys have never seen my work on Albert Pike's letter about 3 world wars, published on the Jesuit Order's birthday, August 15th, addressed to Mazzini, the second leader of the Illuminati, that was 68 years before World War I began. Or no, hold on. No, it was 68 years before World War II began. I take it back. It was 1871. 68 years before 1939. The war that changed the world was World War II. A Chinese military strategist revered and influential throughout Asia was virtually unknown in Western culture for centuries until the French Jesuit missionary Jean-Joseph Marie Amiot translated his masterpiece into French in 1772. Don't you love it? 72. Jesuit Order 72. You know, in light of the United States of America being created in the time of the Jesuit suppression, right after the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, I have always pointed out, like I used to talk about this a lot more back in the day, the United States of America, if you're new here, equals 84. The Catholic Church equals 84. The Jesuit Order equals 84. The big way, Jesuit alone is 84. That big Jesuit Anthony Fauci was the head of NIH from 1984. He's going to turn 84 years old later this year on Christmas Eve. But anyhow, in the reduction cipher, you reduce every letter from using the alphabetic order to a single-digit number. So U is the 21st letter. The numerology of 21 is 2 plus 1 is 3. N is the 14th letter. 1 plus 4 is 5. I is the 9th letter, so on and so forth. You make each letter a single-digit number based on the alphabetic order. The only letter that you have to add together 2 times to get to a single digit is S, because it's the 19th letter, and the numerology of 19 is 1 plus 9 is 10. And 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1. So S can be worth 10. And if you observe that, United States of America does equal 102. Okay? I just want you to think about that in light of the 1772. Remind me, was that before the United States of America was created? What year was it again? Like, that's what's sad. I think if I go out on the street and I survey everybody, I think a lot of people would not know what year the United States of America was created. But 1776 is the year, the same year the Illuminati was founded. And again, I mean, this country has been instrumental in the world wars. It is the biggest beneficiary of the last World War. I'm just saying. Doesn't it all kind of start to make a lot of sense? Jean-Joseph Marie Amiot, born at Toulon, France, entered the Jesuit order in 1737. So that means his famous text was 35 years later. Jesuitism's 35 like Catholic. Ordained in 1746. Oh, the other way, Catholic is 46. That would have been 26 years before his masterpiece. And if you've never read my first book, Letters and Numbers, it explains why 26 is so important. Why man's made in the 26th verse, why it matters that God and Adam equal 26, and letter, and a whole bunch of other things, and it goes with the 26-letter alphabet. And anyway, in 1750, he was sent as a missionary to China, where he became a close confidant of the Qianlong Empire, acting as an official translator and spiritual leader. And if I pronounce things wrong, that's just what I do. Amiot remained in China for the next 43 years, documenting Chinese culture and philosophy. Amiet's output was staggering, producing works on history, science, music, and art, as well as a biography of Confucius and an authoritative Manchu dictionary. Within his voluminous accounts and a work compiling the essential classics of Chinese military, including the notable Art of War, the Art of War text is comprised of 13 chapters, going with our 13 years of slave school in this nation they created, in tribute to Jesus and his 12 disciples, who's the sellout, each one devoted to a different aspect of warfare, such as management, environment, leadership, creativity, etc. Legend has it that Sun Tzu's work influenced, again, the sun in the sky and the 12 constellations, work influenced Napoleon in developing his own campaign strategies. The work became even more influential in the 20th century with leaders as diverse as Mao Zedong, General Pervez Musharraf, isn't it? Okay, that's okay. Vo Nugent Giap and General Douglas MacArthur. In this early printing from 1772, Amiot presents not only Sun Tzu's classic, but other important works on Chinese warfare tactics and philosophy. If you've never read Art of War, one of the ideas, there's a lot of ideas expressed in there, but one of them is the best way to win the war is without even having to fight the war. And, today, how old is Zelensky right now? He's one of the big stories that lines that Zelensky was there. How Zelensky's experiencing the closest thing to World War right now with big evil Russia. Oh, he's 46 right now. I see. He's 46 right now. Okay, he's going to turn 47 next year. Ukraine's 47, the big time number. Uh-oh. But remember, this guy comes from Hollywood. He just, or Ukrainian Hollywood. He had a show about, becoming the president. Then he became the president, synced up with that show. We were covering all this stuff back when the whole ritual went down with Ukraine and Russia. And not to mention, we were calling that out before any of it happened. We've had so many good calls. And where is the respect? And where are the people helping us out? Like I keep saying, where's the cavalry? Where are the people that want to help get this knowledge out? How many years do we got to show how rigged the game is while nobody talks about it? Somehow these people get ratings talking about the dumbest stuff. Does absolutely nothing for nobody. Let me see. Did we get it all in here for the most part? Just in light of the guy dying at 102 today, we just saw this the other day. Pearl Harbor attack survivor dies at 102. Remember, the Emperor of Japan when that happened was Hirohito, which equals 102, like World War, like Art of War. And you see the other overlap with Art of War and World War, 114 and Hirohito. I don't know why I didn't put Pearl Harbor on there. Pearl Harbor equals 114. History equals 114. I remember in my 13 years of slave school, they spent a lot of time focused on the world wars. Always learn about the world wars. Got to hear about how Hitler's the most evil man every year. It's got to be part of the a couple weeks worth of study every year. Same crap every year, pledging to the 13 stripes. Yeah, it's just there's been so many of these 102s. Here's a World War II veteran dead at 102. Johnny Jones Sr. dead at 102. World War II veteran. This is 2022. Yeah, he was a black man too. Slavery is also 102, and the American Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year. And you guys, think about that. Think about the American Civil War beginning on the 102nd day of the year. And who did Lincoln blame the American Civil War on? Oh, that's right. He blamed it on the Jesuits. Isn't it funny how United States of America has that 102 connection as well? A nation that began out of slavery 102. A nation so connected to the world wars, World War 102, created right after the Jesuit priest translates Art of War, when the English translations are just so perfect. And again, that also comes from the church. I mean, I'm seeing a big historical pattern here. I mean, these are pretty undeniable examples. And in light of the whole ideas about the American Civil War, they say the first battle was April 12th, 1861, the 102nd day of the year. Nobody died. Isn't that weird? Nobody died, just a horse. That's the history. Only a horse died. Horse equals 65, and then the war ends in 65. Doesn't that seem weird? Was it a clue for just like how World War I, the Franz Ferdinand assassination, and The license plate of the car that he's assassinated in has the exact end date of the war. 11/11/18 is on the license plate. World War I ends at the 11th hour on November 11th. All ones. World War I ends with all ones. It doesn't seem like number rituals has been going on the whole time. I don't know what to say to people who just think it's all a coincidence. This was pointed out. Shout out to the Islamic people who pointed this out. In the Quran, Surah Baqarah 102. I just got to read this. This is from the Quran. And light how, because remember, the simulation of Islamic extremist group Al Qaeda attacking the U.S. by the federal government, which is a real thing you can look up, Operation Amalgam Virgo. It was June 1st, 2001. It was 102 days before 9/11 happened. And Al Qaeda equals 102 as well. But this is what's written in this Surah Baqarah 102. It says, they instead followed the magic promoted by, and this is the English translation, right? The actual Qurans are in Arabic, but this is the English translation. They instead followed the magic promoted by the devils during the reign of Solomon. Never did Solomon disbelieve, rather the devils disbelieved. They taught the magic to the people along with what had been revealed to the two angels, Harut and Marut, in Babylon. The two angels never taught anyone without saying, we are only a test for you, so do not abandon your faith. Yet people learned magic that caused a rift even between husband and wife, although their magic could not harm anyone except by Allah's will. They learned what harmed them and did not benefit them, although they already knew that whoever buys into magic would have no share in the hereafter. Miserable indeed was the price for which they sold their souls, if only they knew. And again, there's a whole bunch of warnings from all over in the world not to practice magic. But a funny thing about the word magic is when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, the word magic in reverse is also 102. And I know Eminem has a remake of pretty much an old song right now everywhere, all over the radio and MTV and all this, where he's saying abracadabra, which got to go look into the history of that, but I know that fits in with Aleister Crowley and his occult magic. But anyway, magic is 102. Magic is 102, right? A magic, the second word that we often put with magic is trick, right? A magic trick. Again, art of war is about kind of how to deceive somebody to achieve your goal. Do you see us as a people, like the citizens of America, as a people who are being tricked into things so that we're used like cattle? I mean, that's the way I've seen it from a long time. And that's why when I look at all this, I just start saying, this just makes way too much sense. And by the way, for the person out there who just heard me read that and they're like, well, see, Zach, by talking about these things, you are denying yourself the hereafter. A lot of people have that exact reaction from the Christian community. They think by talking about these things and exposing them, it's the same as practicing it. And that's the sign of a really dumb person. And that's also what the Jesuits have done. They have created this society of useful idiots, people who have no discernment, no logic, who really don't understand the difference between exposing something and practicing it. It's a lot of people, because I've been attacked by all these morons for all these years who can't see the difference. Oh, what do you call predicting sports games? I don't call it magic. I say the game's rigged and they use this number code, and based on the number code, we've been able to get ahead of a lot of the outcomes. It's not like I'm going into abracadabra. The 102 will make my team win tonight. That's not what we're doing. We're saying this is how they're rigging it. Here, let's see if we can get on the right side of the rig. Let's see if we read the script right. And that's easier to do sometimes than others. Like the other day when the Dodgers picked up their 38th win over the 38th state, 163 days after Steve Garvey's birthday, the 38th prime, when he's running for federal office in the land of 38, D.C. on the 38th parallel. Like, that's pretty easy to call. It's like, oh, that's obviously coming through. You only wish that game had better value. I mean, that was the only problem with that game is, the Dodgers whipped up on a not so good Rockies team, but had that game had great value, we would have the same confidence. There's games like that where they pay a fortune and you're like, oh yeah, this is the one I've been waiting for. But no, I don't call that magic. And I'm not sure that taking advantage of a rigged system's evil either. Some of you guys think just everything's evil. It's like, have you guys thought about maybe all the things you've been told that are evil are things that could actually take down this system that is evil, that rules over you and lies to you and uses your tax money to murder people in war and a million other things to create some synthetic form of crack and put it all in these communities so they can put them in cages for 20 years? I think it's pretty evil to not figure out what's going on and stop all that. So I get tired of all these religious morons coming here like, oh, you're a bad person for showing this. I am? I think if people would look at what I'm showing, we could stop the actual evil thing rather than blaming people for being evil who aren't. God, that's what I think. I don't want to hear any of it. It's evil. But then you worship these things. You're probably voting for these people, going to these rigged events, not paying attention to what I just showed you about the latest ritual sacrifice of this person for this political career, this rigged championship. Like, I don't want to know about all that. I just want to go to the game and enjoy it. You're the evil one, as far as I'm concerned. Ignorance is evil. Willful ignorance is evil. Because look at it. When you're willfully ignorant, you allow this evil to just flourish and just go on. Okay, now Steve Bannon, another Jesuit play toy who's been out here doing all the number rituals for all these years, who we've covered 1,000 times. I just want you to see that the name of the judge that's sentenced to be in prison by 7-1. You know, there's been a lot of 71s all over the place. There's a lot to this, but it's Judge Carl Nichols, right? Judge Carl Nichols, 71, says you're going to be in prison by 7-1. and how old does Bannon turn later this year? He turns 71 around the time of the election. I mean, come on. You knock off the judge part, you just do the Carl Nichols, run it in reverse at 66 like today. It's like every day, news by the numbers. The big way, Judge Carl Nichols equals 271, the 58th prime, like Steve Bannon equals 58, one of the million 58s that went with Trump winning the 58th election after announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower. Skull and Bones is 192 years old right now. There has been a lot of 192 stuff while they've been 192 years old. I think I've been missing something with 192 that I still have to learn more about, because they're going crazy with the 192 stuff while this order's 192. But notice also, you run it the other way. Steve Bannon's like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant equals 41 and 58. LA equals 41. Los Angeles Lakers equals 58. Dead at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age. Traveled from Catholic Mass when his whole career was defined by 41, which I wrote about in a book in 2017, years before he died. Anyway, Steve Bannon's the same thing, 41, 58. So Moses Malone is 41 and 58. Remember, he died right before Kobe, who Kobe finished his career against Utah. Utah was the first state to draft a player out of high school who was Moses Malone. You know what I mean? Kobe out of high school. There's a reason they did Moses Malone dirty. 213 days before Kobe's last game against Utah, when LA's the 213 area code, like how they won their Super Bowl with the Rams on 213. But yeah, Steve Bannon equals 41 like Skull and Bones. So it's probably not an accident that it's 192 days after his birthday and he's got that connection either. Again, all these things fit together. Skull and Bones, Templar affiliation, Templars and Jesuits might as well be the same thing. It all fits together. It's all very Catholic. And again, he also went to Georgetown, the nation's first Jesuit university right there in D.C. Steve Bannon. There was a period of time where he was just out of the public eye for a long time, and then he popped back up on his 201st day of his age. It was also a court-related thing. Steve Bannon says this. All of this is about one thing: shutting down the mega movement, shutting down grassroots conservatives, shutting down President Trump, Bannon said. I hate these liars and frauds that so many people believe in. He knows what he is saying is total bullshit. You know, he's part of this fraternity, going out there, enjoying the power, the fame, the success, all the stuff that comes with it, going along with the theater. People need to know what the mega movement is. Again, mega is the highest degree of the Church of Satan, and again, the Church of Satan, you study this, you see the Jesuits run that thing too. Undeniably. Anton LaVey, their little puppet. He died by their little Jesuit code. 201 days after his birthday, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. Again, Donald Trump, White House Correspondents' Dinner. He was there April 30th, 2011, the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan. 45 days before Trump's birthday, as Obama jokes that Trump will be the next president and puts up a visual of a Trump White House that looks like a casino. No, the mega movement is what this nation is. It is this evil, satanic, sick thing. It's way older than Trump. He just got to be the latest participant. Okay. Yeah. All right. We covered a lot. I got long in the tooth again. I went longer than I want. If you got here late, new revelation: Barron Trump, whose mother is Melania Trump, who's from Slovenia. Because of that, he gets dual citizenship. He's a U.S. citizen and a Slovenian citizenship. The star of the Dallas Mavericks tonight, who are taking on the Celtics when Joe Biden's Secret Service name is Celtic. Luka Doncic from Slovenia. And again, Trump's 77 years old right now. Luka wears number 77. 77 games were played in the playoffs to set this finals. Boston also equals 77. They're comparing Luka Doncic to Larry Bird. The Eastern Conference Finals were Larry Bird's State, Indiana versus Boston Celtics. At the beginning of this NBA season, Bob Knight, the Indiana coaching great, died. Don't forget that either. But you got to love that it's a 5 seed versus a 1 seed as well, because Dallas Mavericks equals 51. They were created on the Illuminati's birthday, May 1st. This year, Miriam Adelson took over the team on the 51st day of her age at age 78 in this 78th NBA season, where tonight's game will be the 78th game of the playoffs on the 78th birthday of the Celtics, when the only team in the league whose full name again is Boston Celtics 78. So look at this. From Barron Trump's birthday, born March 20th, Barron Trump, from his birthday to today, game 1 is 78 days later. NBA Finals 78, Boston Celtics 78. It is the 78th game of the playoffs. Bill Walton sacrificed the day the Celtics advanced. Larry Allen, the Dallas sport great, sacrificed right after the Mavs go to the finals. Year after year, the obvious ritual sacrifice that people somehow don't catch on to. Again, the fudging of this series where they had to, the only game that's 2 days later is game 4 on Trump's birthday, his 78th birthday. Dallas, the underdog, the 41 city, 41 days after Melania's birthday is game 1. And again, Celtics do come into this series 46-40 versus the Mavericks. Celtics has the gematria of 46. Again, Joe Biden's number 46, Secret Service name Celtic. Today's 199 days after his birthday, 46th prime. You know what's funny about Dallas Mavericks all-time NBA Finals record? It's 6-6. They're 6-6 in the finals all-time as a franchise. And here we are on June 6th, right? 6-6. Yeah, and just, again, today's the anniversary of RFK dying. JFK and the RFK, the Kennedy family from Massachusetts. JFK dead in Dallas. JFK dead in a massive shooting ritual. Shooting equals 107 like John Fitzgerald Kennedy. He would have turned 107 years old this year on May 29th. Here, hold on. My mind's getting fuzzy. I want to go back and see exactly what day it was that Dallas clinched the playoffs. It was May 30th. Yeah, the day after JFK's birthday anniversary, Dallas clinches. You know, just what are the odds? What are the odds? And then Joe Biden, again, number 46, JFK dead at 46, RFK equals 46. It's his death anniversary. You know what I mean? So, and again, I asked it earlier, if somebody can help find the old video of Melania participating in a reenactment of the JFK assassination. I know that exists. I've seen it. I've covered it before. It was many years ago. It was on old channels that got deleted. But I was trying to dig that up for like 30 minutes, and I could not find it. But some of you guys are a lot better at searches than I am. So an area I could improve in. But yeah, it used to be an easier thing to find. There is some Melania footage out there of her participating in a reenactment of the JFK assassination. And don't forget, when she wore baby blue for Inauguration Day in 2016, there were headlines about the first to wear baby blue since Jackie Kennedy in 56 years. That was 2017. The Kennedy inauguration was 61. The year that old Bummer was born. Joe Biden's wingman. And don't forget that year on the what's the oh my god, the sheriff Barney Fife. Oh, I cannot think right now. On Christmas Eve, the Big Hit Show put out the episode that year where they trace a bootlegging family back to the address 411 Elm Street. I can't believe I can't think of that show right now. But that ended up being the address that JFK got assassinated from, 411 Elm Street, almost 2 years later in 63. And the Kennedys, of course, were a bootlegging family. Kennedy equals 33, like alcohol, like prohibition ended in 33, like order, like secrecy, like masonry equals 33, like federal, like the federal city's the Masonic city. But yeah, again, you just count up the playoff games. 37 games played in the West, 40 in the East. It's hilarious because that's exactly what the finals championship numbers are right now. The East have won 40, the West have won 37. And the East has played 40 games, the West has played 37. It's just, and yeah, you could say, well, does that mean the East is going to get the 41st win? To play devil's advocate, they made this a little bit tight. That's why I told people, for everybody who took my future advice before the start of the season, you got to hedge with the Mavericks because there's a few things there that are scary for them. The next win for the West is 38, and Mavericks equals 38, like election. So the Mavericks could theoretically be the 38 team to win, or they got it this year double coded. Sometimes these things are a lot more double coded, but you see that Mavericks 38, Dallas 41. And like we talked about, what else is crazy is election has that gematria of 83 and 38. If the Celtics do win the finals, who are their favored to, they will get their 83rd win in the finals all time. That's the 23rd prime number. The 23rd prime. This is their 23rd NBA championship series, and this season began in 2023. So if they win, they get to 83 wins. Right now, they're 79 and 56. Again, it's the Jesuits who script all this. 2022, we didn't flinch at all at 2022. We had that one. We didn't have to take any extra things. We just knew that one was over. The Pope's birthday told us everything about why the Warriors were beating the Celtics. It was so easy in 2022. Last year, it was pretty easy to see that Denver would win 4-1 on number 41's birthday anniversary with the 41st pick, Jokic. Things are easy, but this year they made it a little bit tricky. The Celtics come in 79 and 56 in finals. So 4 wins is 83. 4 losses is 60. It's the 60th U.S. election. So that's where the hum and ha is. The 83 thing does seem very, again, it's the 23rd prime, 23rd championship. That was the initial thought. But now that Dallas is here, and this could also, now, here's the other thing that's goofy about this. Okay. Boston, remember, right now they're 17 and 5 in finals, right? They became 17 and 5 against Golden State, perfectly synced with the Pope. Golden State is 175. Okay. They became 7. This is why it was very easy that year. It was all set on the Pope's birthday. The Warriors beat the Celtics in Boston and dropped Boston to 7 and 5 at home on the Pope's birthday in that season, where they ended up beating them in the finals. The Warriors that year ended up getting their 75th road win in Boston and became 7 and 5 in finals, and they had a big 75 all over their court all year. And again, Catholic Church is 75, like Roman Catholic. The Niners won the 75th NFL season. Giants love that number. San Francisco Giants is 75. But anyway, all synced with the Pope. The Celtics fell to 17 and 5. So if they won, I'd see the obvious basketball tribute. If they won, they'd be 18 and 5 in finals, right? And if the Celtics win and become 18 and 5, then it sets up the possible narrative for them to eventually go to another finals and become 19 and 5. Because you see, Boston Celtics is 195. You see? Now you see how Boston Celtics is also 156. Remember, when Biden announced he was running for president, John Havlicek died the same day, 156 days after Biden's birthday. And my mind slipped for a second. I know what I want to say. How this whole thing synced with Barron Trump. Barron Trump has the 156. See how he's got the 57 as well? Look at NBA Finals, And it makes you, whoops, I hit the wrong button there. All right, NBA Finals. Similar numbers. NBA Finals is 165. Donald Trump's birthday is the 165th day of the year. And they had to make sure they played on Trump's birthday. This year it's a leap year, so it'll be +1, but in a non-leap year, it's the 165th day. It's also the flag's birthday. Scottish Rite equals 165, one that got their headquarters in D.C. But yeah, People, again, think about how, for all of you guys, I hate when people start leaving comments like, only God could do this. No, stop. No, not only God could do this. Planning, like you can count calendars and know what dates are going to be at certain ages. You can do this with this. It's a system that's in place. These people are chosen. There is ritual birthing. They might even be fudging the dates on birthdays to make things line up perfectly. But then these people are inserted because of who they are and what their birthdays are for their planned script that they have planned for the world stage. Because literally, guys, they have us like all. That's what people need to understand about. They have us going through. People like to say the world's a simulation. In a sense, they have us going through a simulation that's been created by these psychopaths. That's why they changed the calendar and the language, and they put all these things together at the same time. Hold on. Somebody's trying to get me to see something. Somebody just said, speaking of 57, we just broke a 57-year temperature record in Canada. I guess that's in the news today. And remember, Canada's trying to end the 31-year drought. Hockey's 31. Canada's 24. Montreal leads all Canadian teams with 24 championships. Can Canada end the drought in 24, 31 years later? This was our hunch. And before the playoffs started, before any teams played, we decided it looks like it's either Vancouver or Edmonton. And Edmonton started the playoffs against the Kings, and it was all synced up with Wayne Gretzky. And the whole thing's been synced up with Wayne Gretzky. But it remains to be seen if they finish it off. Canada's been waiting for their national sport to win the big championship for 31 years. Isn't it amazing? And by the way, I said back in 2017, if Canada didn't win that year, they might have to wait till 2024. So we'll see. So that's 7 years ago. Had they won it in 2017, they would have broke a 24-year drought. They did not. But yeah, again, for people who think it's all a coincidence, I'm sorry. You just don't have enough intelligence. You don't have enough smarts. You don't have enough life experience. That's the real problem. If you knew anything about basketball, you wouldn't be wearing a Luka jersey. You'd be like, get that guy off the court. He doesn't even know how to dribble a basketball. He carries the ball every time. It's an embarrassment to anyone who's ever played point guard. I played a lot of basketball growing up. I can dribble the ball nice with both hands. I don't have to carry the ball all over the court. And I never got paid millions of dollars to play basketball. Give me the magnetic rims. I'll be swishing all day too. I can almost do it without them. But yeah, it's sick to watch this guy. He's the most 4-star. And then you have to turn on, turn on ESPN in the morning. Every morning they got this Mad Dog Mattis idiot on there. I don't know why anyone likes listening to that guy or Stephen A. Smith. But every day he's talking about how the best players in the NBA are Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic. Do you know how laughable it is? Allow these guys to really play outside of the script, and you'd see that Jokic and Doncic would both never make it in the NBA. Did you see what just happened to Jokic in the Timberwolves series when they allowed the other guys to actually defend him? Everybody knows Jokic can't jump. He has a big body and a nice touch, but once the other guys are allowed to actually play defense, he gets dominated because they can jump about 2 feet higher in the air than he can. That's why Nuggets just got destroyed. People are like, what the hell? I thought he was the reigning MVP and defending champion. He looked like he didn't even belong on the floor when they let those other guys soar above him. No. It was an episode of White Men Can't Jump. But to watch this old white guy crankily every day scream that Doncic and Jokic are the best players in the NBA, it's a joke, you guys. I'm sorry. As a skilled basketball player myself, where I get outshined is when I get against guys who are bigger, who can leap higher. That's what basketball is about, athleticism. If you're big and you can leap, it's a dominant thing because you can win on the rebounds. It doesn't even matter if you can't shoot. You'll just get your rebound all day. You can jump 2 feet above everybody else. But yeah, these guys are so forced. And again, it's all rigged. And last year with Jokic, the 41st pick, winning on number 41's birthday. Remember number 41's speech about a new world order? As they have to give you all these international players. now they got ones that can't even dribble. They have to carry it every time they touch it. It's just it's horrific. It's like, oh my God. Like really, I wish the NBA this offseason would consider not even having dribbling anymore in basketball. Just get rid of the dribble. You can just run around on the court. Yeah, I don't know why not. The way they travel everywhere and carry, it's gross. It's like there's no point to a dribble. I mean, defeats the purpose if you can do this. Just let them run around and see who can dunk the most balls. Get rid of the foul call too, because they only call fouls when it's going to affect the outcome of the game. Or just do away with these leagues is really what they should do. Stop going to these leagues where they sacrifice players and they rig outcomes and they seek it with rigged elections. How about that? That's the real message. Stop going to the games. Stop voting in the elections. Somebody out there would say stop gambling on it. Okay, fine. Let's just stop doing everything. Let's see if we can all stop doing everything at once. But the reality is that the way I see it is that if you can beat them at their own game, you're hurting them by taking away from the casinos. That said, in recent years, because so many people have caught on to this, things have become more challenging. You run into more and more double-coded scenarios, and you just got to be more selective and more patient with the knowledge when you're using it to take advantage of the rigged sports outcome. All right, let me see. Oh, by the way, I want to bring up this blast from the past. You guys remember this when Trump took the stage on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, November 9th, 2016, to accept the election while it was at 218 votes to 248? Remember, President Donald Trump equals 248. This year, he was in the Manhattan Criminal Court, which equals 248. And on the Illuminati's 248th birthday, he got a break to go campaign. And then the election's going to happen while the country's 248 years old. And look at what Clinton was on, 218 votes, right? Trump in the Francis Bacon ciphers, 218, like how he's the father of the presidential alert that always goes out at 218 Eastern time. And, of course, Holy Roman Empire equals 218, and it supposedly folded on the 218th day of the year, August 6th, 1806, but it didn't really fold. It's alive and well in the Roman Catholic Church, and it is. I mean, look at our nation's capital, you guys. It is Rome. We are the Roman Catholic Church. We just can't see it. They wanted to control the world. They're like, fine, you don't want us to control us through Catholicism. We'll sneak into everything else. We'll still be controlling your ass. By the way, here, let me go back to Miriam Adelson taking over the team at age 78. Again, Sheldon Adelson was the biggest backer of Trump. He died. His wife takes over the Mavericks. She took over the Mavericks 150 weeks after he died, and on the 51st day of her own age. Dallas Mavericks equals 150 and 51. Illuminati equals 150. Adam Weishaupt equals 51. That's the founder of the Illuminati who created the order on the 5th month, first day, May 1st. Remember, words like federal, Roman, conspiracy all equal 51. DC used to be known as Rome on the Potomac. Roman architecture everywhere. And again, they have a finals that's a 5 seed versus a 1 seed. I mean, that's the finals this year. 5 seed versus 1 seed. Ah, man, these people. But yeah, Miriam Adelson. She turned 78 October 10th, 2023. Has the same birthday as Jesuit Gavin Newsom. And she owns a bunch of casinos in Las Vegas. Isn't that awesome? Oh, the rig. And don't forget, the day after this happened, LeBron's friend was what? Maverick Carter that got in trouble the next day for gambling. It's like, okay, there's something about this. Maverick Carter, the day after the casino owner takes over the Mavericks. So I know if you go back and watch the videos back then, I made the point. I was like, if they throw this team in the finals, it's going to be the ultimate mockery, and they did. Oh man. Weishaupt was born in 48. Born in 48. Illuminati. Miriam Adelson is 83, and she bought the team on 83 date numerology. And if the Celtics win that championship, they're going to get their 83rd win. I forgot to say one other thing about if the Celtics win. Again, they'd be 18-5. We talked about that, right? Basketball's 185. And it seems kind of counterintuitive since Joe Biden's Celtic. But I'm just having trouble imagining that Joe Biden's going to be here on November 5th. Donald John Trump is also 185, just for the record, you know. It does seem like the Mavericks are a lot more aligned with Trump, especially since the Adelsons backed him. I guess that would be extra encouraging for Trump winning the election if the Mavericks upset the Celtics. I'd say, like, okay, that's got to be telling you for sure that Trump's Trump's going to win this thing. But the point I'm trying to make is if the Celtics become 18-5, Trump, but then I'd be humming and hawing. I'd be like, I don't know. Maybe they are going to put Biden back. Maybe they're going to keep Biden alive. Can you imagine if Biden ends up dying at age 83 in a second term? Can you imagine just having to watch 2 more years of Biden the way he is on TV? I'm pretty sure it's a character he's playing too. I don't think he's really that far gone. I think that's just the script. He's supposed to represent the dying nation. Way past its prime. Needs to be pushed off the stage, but it just won't go. Not yet. But yeah, the whole script's been here the whole time. I mean, Hillary and Bill came out in purple. Remember? Came out in purple, the color of royalty, how they had it all synced up with Trump and the Queen. Trump coming out to Queen, we are the champions at the convention. Prince, he did the song Black Donald Trump, died 201 days before the election. Right after the 58th Grammys, the day his former girlfriend died from the time of Purple Rain, which was also on the anniversary of his mother's death. Trump wins the 58th election. Prince dies at 57, meaning he died in his 58th year of life. Again, all the bodies they get collected. And I mean, couldn't we have voted in a? Can't this satanic cabal like fill us in more? And can we at least vote on things like, okay, we got to get rid of one of them this year, Prince or Donald Trump? I feel like everybody would have voted for Donald Trump to go that year and not Prince. That bothers me too. Just sacrificing anybody, but my God, to sacrifice Prince for Donald Trump. People are getting, I like Donald Trump. I don't know how any of you guys like this guy. What a fucking goon. He thinks he can just get up there and say the word super and great over and over, and people are like, yeah, okay, yeah, great. It's all going to be great and super. All right. Just wait till we get back. It's going to be so super. I don't do Donald Trump impersonations, but he does. He just says those same words over and over. It's like listening to just like a total bullshitter. God, just nothing but bullshit coming out of this guy's mouth. And again, he's gotten away. It was such a joke when he was running in 2016. I remember it was like, it might have been CBS or NBC, ABC. It was a nightly interview with him. And they asked him, they said, now you don't have any experience like really with the Pentagon and the military. So how do you think you're going to lead there? And he's like, well, I'll probably just watch my favorite war movies. I was like, oh my fucking God, man. God, I'll watch my favorite war movies. It's all theater, you guys. All right. Yeah, Biden's D-Day visit may mark the end of an American era. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about, just how symbolic all this shit is. And him being in the Jesuit stronghold. Yeah. Yeah, he symbolizes, the end. The end of this country as we knew it, man. And it's been over. It's been over. It was over when Trump was in office and he was going along with the lockdowns from Switzerland and signing off in $6.5 trillion for the Switzerland bankers. Now he still wants. He's like, yeah, all that inflation's because of Biden. It's like, oh yeah, you printed off $6.5 trillion in money and just start mailing out checks because you had us locked down from the 99.9% survivable. Yeah, that didn't cause inflation. No, I'm sure. Just all this new printed money. That's just automatic inflation. What they do, like added how much more to the money supply? Like a third more to the money supply? Yeah, they're going to have relative inflation. That's why everything's through the roof. Except for technology. Notice the technology prices don't go up. That's also the game. Their fake-ass economy, all their scripted bullshit. It's all been bullshit long before that. But notice everything's way up in price. Except for technology. Somehow flat screen 77-inch TVs are as cheap as 61 inches from 2 years ago. What the hell? This TV's way, way more. They're way bigger. I had a new neighbor move in, and he asked if I could come help him put up a TV. He had a 77-inch TV that he wanted to put up on the wall. Man, shit was heavy. I was like, God, I don't want to break this thing. You like trying not to get your hands on the picture. But it weighed a damn ton. I've handled the 60 inches. They weigh a fraction of the for whatever those. But anyway, he's like, yeah, I got it for $1,000. It's crazy. I mean, in the 90s, if you wanted a 40-inch TV, it probably would have cost you $2,500. Could have bought 5 houses back then for the cost of one now. Just goes to show they want the technology because they're controlling you through the technology and the screens. They got to make sure you can afford that. They got to make sure it's bigger and brighter, eating up more of your mind. Joe Biden in the funeral yard as CNN tells us it's the end of an American era. Oh boy. You think this news network represents American interests? None of them do. That's why I watch Fox. Fox is about a political party that sold you out a long time ago. It doesn't represent a country. It represents a political party that's been fucking you in your ass. No, none of these news networks. That's why it's revolution or bust, you guys. All these things need to just like be eliminated from the earth. They don't exist anymore. If we're gonna ever bring back news again, it has to be like about actual information that's helpful to people, not scares them and manipulates them and makes them buy a whole bunch of junk food and drugs. And Fox News is always telling you if you eat that one the multivitamin gummy each day, it's like eating 500 plants and vegetables. All this shit needs to go. I don't ever want to see that ad again. I'm sorry. Eating a gummy bear is like eating 500 plants and vegetables. Fox News, like people watch that network and maybe it is better than the other crap that's out there, but a lot of people who watch it like think they're on some other level and all. You got to be really dumb to not see how that station manipulates you. It's not better than the other ones. They're all god awful. So many people, though, they think Fox News is the truth. Fox News has been telling you that unless you support the bombing of brown people in Gaza, you're a horrible human being. You should be eating a gummy that's the same as 500 fruits and vegetables, and you should buy some more Mike Lindell slippers and blankets. Mike Lindell. Today they had him on. He's like, I've been to over 100 Trump things. I go there as a patriot to support him. Bullshit you do, con man. You go there because you know all the Trump tards are going to buy your overpriced pillows and blankets as you advertise them on Fox News like you guys are the two patriots about to lead the revolution. I'm Mike Lindell. Look at my background, a big picture of Jesus and the cross. For a limited time, you can buy my slippers for $99.99. They have 3 layers of foam. You'll never be more comfortable. And if you order right now for $50 more, I'll throw in 3 pillows and 1 sheet. It's like, and all that. Oh my God. I don't. Yeah. Yeah, that's what kills me, man. People are listening to Mike Lindell and the Orange Oompa Loompa and the Talking Heads, and they're like, "Oh, I don't like that number thing. I just think like it's a coincidence." Okay. And you guys, as I got the little one coming on the way, I am trying to change myself as a human being. I want to stop calling people fucking retards, but it is really hard because, again, it's like I don't want my little kid to be like, yeah, Dad, they're fucking retards. I'm like, okay, hold on. Maybe when you're older. Yeah, it's just like I've said, you guys, I used to be a teacher in 5th grade classroom, and certain things I've done online in the years I've been here, I would never conduct myself that way in front of children. But I don't make these videos for children. I make them for adults. But a lot of adults are like little children, and they get their feelings all hurt. And yeah, it might scare some people away, but it's hard. It's hard because those 2 words, fucking retard, I mean, they really do sum up almost everyone. So I'll find something better to say. I got to get it out of my vocabulary. I got to just focus on being positive. I want to make these people smarter. I want to make them think. I want to make them see through the deception. Not like, oh, I watch Fox News and I like Trump and yeah, Elon Musk, he's going to save us in Bitcoin. It's like, nope, those are all Jesuit things. All of those things are controlled by the Jesuits, and they're all here to manipulate you and suck you into their agenda and make you think that you're smarter than you are because you're not. You need to be, though. People who aren't smart, which is most people, they can become smarter. They just got to stop believing bullshit, listening to authorities, getting their information from the TV screens, and actually do some real research and look into things and read books and ask questions. That's who I am. I did that for a long time. I read a lot. Finally, I got enough information to figure out what was going on in the world from being observant and asking the right questions. Here, out of curiosity, I want to see what they're reporting today for the state. Oh, it's Virginia. Okay, right outside the capital. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there, you guys. I got to run to the grocery store and then get dinner going. So thank you again to everyone who supports the work. Shout out to Open Up. He said, did you catch the news on Delonte West getting arrested today? Played for both Mavs and Celtics, wearing number 13 for both teams. I didn't, but I mean, isn't it? It's just like painful that our friends and family are like, he probably just did something bad. It's like, yeah, okay. Game 1 of the NBA Finals between his 2 teams. sure Bill Walton did at 71 on the day Carlisle stayed on 71 wins when he's a former Celtic, and Celtics Eagles. Just all this stuff that people must chalk up to coincidence that's impossibly not. Thank you, 33 always. I appreciate it. Every dollar counts. Shout out to JD with the 79 cents in the British pounds. That's probably over a US dollar. I have to see what the conversion rate is. Thank you. He came with another one. $1.99 in the British pounds. Or they probably don't say dollar. What do you guys say? $1.99 in the pounds? 2 pounds? 2008 financial crash and Celtics winning I'm going to look more into that. I didn't think about that. What world history was going on when that Celtics team won with Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce? If Celtics win the title, the crash is coming. Yeah, you're probably not far off because it's 16 years later and that the Jesuits since the 16th century. I'm going to go back and look into that. I like that you brought that up. I appreciate the generosity. And shout out to Carl Streener. Also our support these days is coming from the great UK. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching overseas. Thank you both. Yeah, I'll look more into that crash narrative. I remember they got rid of what's the rap duo from Boston? They got the Mass Appeal song. I can't think of the group's name or the rapper's name, but he died for those Celtics finals. Jonathan and I have covered that in the past. Imagine being a troll in the chat, making up stories that I owe a lot of people a lot of money. I don't owe anyone any money, actually. Nope. But, a mentally ill weirdo from San Francisco, which is a city that produces a lot of mental illness with its policies. Again, just again, for all the people out there that are so butthurt and wants to censor everything, I think a good example is this person who's trolling in the chat, who's just lying every day, been doing this every day for over a year now, just trolling and harassing and making up stuff. And, if anyone owes money, you probably owe me money. I gave you promotion and helped you out before you exposed yourself as a weirdo. You've never done anything for me. I told you to save your money. When you donate like your $5 super chats, I said, save it for your own costs. I don't owe you anything. But that person, you should look into their life study because a lot of the things that are being pushed on society are his family. His father is transgender. That person who's been spamming all stream on all these different accounts, you can look into that person. Their father is a transgender. So, has that taken a toll on the son? Son's clearly a weirdo. I mean, he's been trolling and harassing, yours truly every day, calling sweet ladies work. I mean, super weirdo. So, and again, from my own experience, the one person I had to work with in life that was a transgender, they were a terror in the workplace and they would have been fired, but the place was afraid they'd get sued because they'd say they got sued because they were transgender, when really they were just creating chaos in the workplace every day. And they were blaming on being on testosterone pills because they were converting to a man. So again, I can't imagine what it's like to have a father like that, who's going through this transition. It might have been as crazy as the one I knew. And again, the fact that I'm bringing this up and someone could say, oh, that's hate speech. No, bullshit. I'm talking about real world experience and a real situation. That person that's trolling and spamming, their father's transgender. And, they have a restraining order against their own family. I just start to look at again, the people who are doing these kind of things, what are they ultimately doing to society? Yeah, don't tell me I'm wrong. Caitlyn Jenner, 201. Every agenda going on in this world is about screwing people up, and it's all about population control. That weirdo in the chat the whole time's a good example of what they've done to society. And he comes from that city, San Francisco. That's the city that's really pushing those agendas. Big Jesuit stronghold. Here. All right. I haven't heard anything back for a long time. I told you guys I had a weird thing happen to me 201 days after my birthday. It was February 7th this year. I got my second visit from a certain 3-letter agency and they had a bunch of questions for me. And all the questions were about people who post in my live chat, which I thought was so weird. And I didn't have any answers for them on anything. I said, yeah, I recognize that name from my chat. I don't know that person. But I couldn't believe that I got a visit from a 3-letter agency about people who post things in my live chat. And we'll see if they come and slap me on the wrist. But I'm going to say, well, I didn't say exactly what it was. I just said 3-letter agency. But yeah, that did happen to me earlier this year. And that's why I put out a warning around that time, especially to one person. I said, hey, you might want to, I don't know if you're doing something, but they were asking a lot of questions about one specific person. And I was like, I literally do not know that person at all. I know that they support my work and are in my live stream. So that felt like some weird little federal gimmicky thing to come out here and ask me questions about people who post in the live stream. The reason I just said that, though, is because I saw what one of you just wrote in the live stream, and that's the kind of stuff they were coming out here and asking me about. So I started to wonder, I'm like, are these people federal agents, and they're just like creating these things? They've talked about this in the past, you guys. YouTube talked about this like 4 or 5 years ago about how YouTube content creators and other social media creators could end up being responsible for things that are like essentially posted in their comment section and stuff. It doesn't seem that there's been any type of enforcement about that. But when that happened to me earlier this year, that's what jogged my memory. I was like, I hope they're not trying to make some kind of like, I'm not responsible for what these people say and do in the chat. But yeah. Anyway, be careful what you guys do, right? Because that did happen this year. That's not a bullshit story. And yeah, it was 201 days after my birthday, which really had my eyebrow up. I didn't say don't use the chat anymore. I just said don't write like things like somebody just said like the troll's deathbed is approaching. That's exactly what they were out here asking me about. So yeah, you shouldn't be writing death threats online, especially if you don't intend to do them. You know. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And shout out to John Mendoza, who threw in $2 more. Yeah, that's true, John Mendoza. That's true. I even got that. Yeah, that's right. That troll met a nice. And the one, I'm surprised that the woman went with him because the woman, she's kind of attractive. That wasn't a nice way. She's a pretty attractive person. And she's taller than him. I mean, for the little troll out there, you did, and the poor guy. That's what set him off, though. He met the woman through the community, and then they broke it off in no time, and then he's just been trolling every day since. It was like he got his first piece of action, and now he wants it more, and he can't have it, so he's going to take it out on me. Too bad I didn't have a real father to go talk to. All right, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Until next time.